In this video, I go on a journey in Daily Race A. Daily Race B, Monza Turn 1 delivers once again with crashes. In Daily Race C, well, the pit entry, just how hard actually is it? Hello everyone and welcome back to the Gran Turismo weekly race guide here in 2025, week 13, and this one, bit of a weird week. We start off with a brand new combo that we have never done before. We are in the Auto Bianchi A112 Abarth 1985 car. Now these are specific cars you can pick out, or specific liveried cars you can pick out. And we do 4 laps at Suzuka, which we've done a billion times. It's a good start with a false start check, racing hard tyres, and the bop is on, of course, because these cars have been fine-tuned, so they're specifically set up. You can't change anything on them, you just pick and go. Now, if you don't like this race, or some of you will not like how this car drives at all, there are some timestamps there to jump to Daily Race B or Race C, respectively, if you want to try out those races, or just have a look what they're all about. However, in terms of Daily Race A, we've used this track 23 times now, and we've already used it once this month already, Suzuka. So it's very annoying that we're here again. Now, in terms of issues, the car is a bit awkward to drive, to be honest with you, and it does have some weight transfer issues that you will have to get used to. Without further ado then, let's jump into this daily race. Let's have a look exactly what happens and see whether it's a really good race, a really bad race, or maybe you should just avoid this entirely. Here we are then with the start of this first race. Jimmy Kiwi in pole position, Sonic in P2. We're starting all the way down in P10. Now, traction control put on 1. I actually changed to second gear here just because I thought I'd try it. And weirdly, this works. So there's your first tip right there. Start in second gear. So release handbrake, off I go. Remember, handbrake's the best way to start these races rather than holding the brake. And then I'm going to turn traction control off right now and get racing. So you see the start there. We had a brilliant start. We're going to head towards turn number 1 then. And as we go into here, everyone's just going to struggle initially. And a gap opens up there. So I go for a little move down the inside. And we get a couple of positions. So up into P7. P10 start up to P7. We're doing not too shabby so far in one corner. Side by side up ahead then, Iceman and Jedrek. And Jedrek just leaves another gap open. So I go, okay, well, I'm going to look at trying to steal that one. Then round the outside we go on the left-hander here, in towards the right. And we get that done up into P6. And we can see the lead already. We're making moves here. Moves like Jagger. Right, so we advance towards the end of the first lap. I go into here and I just do this first corner a slight, well, not slight, bit wrong. Terribly wrong there, but we managed to catch it and bring it back on the circuit. Just hit the bounce on the inside, it bounced the car out, and that's that weird weight transfer I did talk about in the introduction. Up ahead, we've got Shadow, Iceman, that's very much side by side. Norman Power is in there as well. And this car, really good fun to drive and race, actually. You're seeing some good racing right here as we head towards the hairpin. Shadow looking down the inside of Iceman then. We're going to take our normal line here. Notice I'm in third gear here for the exit. They're still side by side there. And Shadow's going to change gear there. You may have heard it in the background in terms of the engine noise. But Shadow's going to go into this corner and leave a little bit of a gap. So I go, okay, well, I'm going to nab that one. Nappy days indeed. This is going to be P5 then. We're in the slipstream as well, which also helps here as we head towards Spoon. And we've got that position done and dusted. We go through this left-hander. Iceman's unfortunately going to make that mistake where you go too far to the outside. We get another position then. P4, well held though by Iceman as we continue towards 130R. So this time, hopefully we'll get it right. We go into this corner, lift it a bit more. We accelerate, but we're on the slippy stuff. We pull an Iceman. But this time, we don't catch it like Iceman and go straight into the barrier there. And a horn going by. You see that was Marisonic blaring the horn. Somebody blaring the horn. You all know how much I love those horns in Gran Turismo. I come back on the circuit. Dead last there. Safely rejoining. There will be the yellow flags out as well, so people will have known I am somewhere on the circuit. Right, we're going to head towards Tidgney 1 here. We've got back up to Jedrek then as we head towards Tidgney 2. Hard on the brakes we go. We're taking a wider line in as we continue on through here. Notice they're in a higher gear. We don't change gear. We're already in third gear and we get the run on them. So gear selection, very critical in this car. And you're seeing that right now as we head towards the hairpin then. We are now up into P11. Good racing there with Jedrek as we continue on through here. We're going to accelerate out and confirm we have that position. To the final lap, we catch up to Max Power then. He seems to be struggling here a little bit as we head towards Tidgney 1. In we go. Flip the inside. Max Power there. Weight transfer just caused some issues. Up ahead, we've got somebody out wide. Oh, somebody else gone off here then as we continue on through here. Max Power's got a 0.5 second penalty. Marisonic was off. Blue Racer was off as well. That's 2 positions. Arguably, it could be 3 here with Max Power's penalty as we go onto the brakes. Round the outside at the hairpin. Very hard to do. Staying in that third gear though. Remember, it is beneficial to do that. As we continue on there, look at that. Look at the speed increase, the speed change there because we don't change gear. Very much, again, Gear selection being very critical here in Daily Race A. But this is good fun. Really, really, really good fun. If I had more time this week, I would be doing this race quite a few times, if I'm brutally honest with you, because it's just a nice race. It's a nice car. It's something different. It's very Gran Turismo-esque. And fair play, Gran Turismo, for putting this one in. Really is. Fair play to you. Right, we'll continue through Spoon then. The car in front of Max Power also has 0.5 second penalty. So after my crash, I've done not too bad, haven't I, here, as we go into 130R. I say not done too bad here, because look, I've just done the same mistake. I managed to try and catch it. I'll try to at least. I'm into the barrier. Not quite as dead as the previous one as we go into the final corner. Marisonic there all over the place. Blue Race is going to try around the outside, get the inside for the next part of the chicane. We exit there, still in P10. So we survived it. You see me laughing my head off. You got to laugh in those situations. If you get raging constantly, you're not going to do very well in Gran Turismo. It's a game at the end of the day. You got to have fun. Now, I've rated this 8 out of 10. I think this is a fantastic race. I really, really, really do. Well played, Gran Turismo. All the details on how that point score is made are in a pinned comment down below. How do you do this lap? How do you control this car then? When you head towards turn number 1, what I want you to look for turn number 1 is the 50 board, or arguably what's even better, the escape road on the left-hand side. I want you to turn into the corner before you get to that escape road, and then you're going to hit the brakes. Hit the brakes hard initially as well to really start to slow the car down. It's very much a weight transfer car, this one, so I'm going to hit the brakes and then slow the car down. There we go. I actually trail brake a bit more than I expected there. We dropped third gear. As we go through here, we're looking to stay in third gear on exit, but notice I'm constantly lifting off. It seems to me if you lift off, it just allows the car to turn in a little bit more. So I'm in fourth gear now for the S's, and that's what I'm going to do to control this car. On and off the throttle. So I'm on it, and now I'm going to go off it to get the car to turn, then on it again. And then as we get to here, we've got the curb on the right-hand side. I know we talk about this curb every single time we're at Suzuka. The 23 times we've been here already. So that is a brake marker for this right-hander. So I've already lifted off. I'm going to dab the brakes a little bit and try and slow the car down. You don't really want to go below 70 miles an hour, but you do want to stay in fourth gear. So notice there, I'm just trying to maintain the speed. I actually maintain it really well on that corner. And as we go towards the left, once again, we lift off, flip the curb. Once we know we've got the car around, the lift off just helps the car rotate. We can then fully plant our foot and head towards segment 1. But all that was throttle control, so you really do need to control the throttle in this car, and it will turn when you're not fully accelerating. So on the right side there, we've got that lamppost there. That is a brake marker for Tidgney 1. You do have to brake for this one as well. Now, if you fully mount the curb on the inside, the car could go flying like it did in the race for max power. However, if you just stay towards the outside a little bit, like we do, or not quite as much as that actually, I need to stay a bit further wide there because you notice I had to make an adjustment. But if you do stay out slightly wider, you won't have to adjust as much. The Marshall tent there on the left-hand side is your brake marker for this second part. For this one, you are going to want to go to third gear for it. Now, I tried third and fourth, but fourth is just a bit too slow on the exit. Now, if you do go to fourth or try fourth, you'll understeer more as well. So third gear does seem to be the best gear for Tidgney 2. We're going to head towards the hairpin then. Now, for this one, you got the Dunlop sign on the left-hand side. Just before it hits the edge of your screen, just hit the brakes. Now, what you want to do for this corner is drop to second gear, but then you want to short shift to third before you start accelerating. And that's how I do this corner. And I think it's the best way to do this corner as well. So that's hopefully what I'm going to demonstrate now, because that's what I was practicing. There we go, down to second gear, then up to third, and then accelerate out, and absolutely fine. Not a problem there. And that is the best way to do the hairpin, in my opinion. So we'll just fast forward now towards Spoon. We're up into fifth gear then. On the right side there, we've got the escape road, very familiar. So we're braking just before we get to that. We'll initially drop to fourth gear for the first part of Spoon, and then we'll go to third gear for the second part of Spoon. So just to give you an idea on gears here. You're going to trail brake a little bit. Again, you're going to be using the throttle more than anything here to try and control this car as best as you can. So we're then going to accelerate, and then we'll lift, and then start braking and drop to third gear. Now, on the right side, you've got the curb. You have to be off the curb, and you have to be turning before the end of that curb. Use that as a marker. So you make sure you are turning left before you get to the end of that curb, okay? And that's a critical marker. I always point it out every single time. I do feel like I repeat myself a lot, but that's because we've been here 23 times. This is the 24th time of asking of being at Suzuka, although nobody's really asked for it 24 times. But hey, here we are. Right, 130R. You saw me get it completely wrong in the race 3 out of 4 times. So the 50 board on the right-hand side is your lift-off marker. I want you to lift off and turn in when that 50 board disappears off the right-hand side of your screen. And what we'll do, we'll have a look at a chase cam. So it's very similar there in terms of chase cam. It'll be close to the edge of your screen. So what we do, lift off, turn in. And notice that we do that. We're trying to control some speed, which is 23. We're very much on the sippy stuff there, but we avoid it a little bit. Now, for the chicane here, you have to brake earlier than normal. So normally I brake as that yellow line hits the edge of my screen. I'm braking just before it gets there this time. But it is still my brake reference marker there. And when I talk about these markers, they are just references. So you might not be able to brake as much as me or brake as hard as me or for whatever reason. So brake a bit earlier, but use them as markers, as guides, okay? Now, as we go through the chicane, I stay in third gear, I accelerate out, stay in third gear, and then keep it nice and tight, and then head towards the line. This is a 218.6. You can chase this ghost on the leaderboard if you have a look for it. You'll also be able to have a look on Coach Dave Academy Delta as well. But 218.646 there for you. We've done steering race B then, where we're at Monza, if you couldn't already tell in the background. I'm in Group 3 machinery. So it's a very common combo, although we've not done it on the racing medium tyres that we're showing right there in quite a while. So just putting that out there. Now we've got 5 laps here, and the bop is on, so you kind of just brake balance, but that is everything. Now, did you see the choice of car? I picked the Genesis. So the Genesis is very much up there with the Toyota Supra. We've used this track 12 times. Track car combo 5 times. It's not in the top 10 used combo, surprisingly. The last used Monza on the 30th of December. Of course, common issues, Monza Turn 1. We know that is an issue. And track limits can be frustrating, especially at the second chicane I found. Always get penalties there because you just try and cut it that little bit too much. Let's jump into this race then. Let's have a look exactly what happens. I'll give you a lap guide after it in case you are struggling here at Monza. Here we are then at the start. We've got Supras, as expected, towards the front. We've got Corvette in there as well of Kemp as we kick off this race. So if you enjoyed this video, as always, give it a like, subscribe to the channel to stay in touch with all the latest content. Shadow's picked the Alpha again. That is highly, highly, highly expected. I was going to say unexpected to be sarcastic, but it's all good that Shadow picked something different compared to everybody else. I'm in the Genesis, as I said. Going through here, small taps here and there, but as we leave this corner, we got 1, 2 cars off towards the right side. A very slow Greek driver there, and an Alfa Romeo alongside Shadow. He gets a 5-second penalty. We'll look at that one in the bloopers, find out exactly what happened there, and yeah, see who was at fault, the mistake that happened, and all that good stuff. So we head towards the second chicane. Notice I'm lifting there. I wasn't sure where to go here, so I started going towards the middle of the circuit here to say don't attack, and yeah, we should be fine. So going through this right-hander, slight tag between the two. Up ahead, we'll gain another spot then. So we jump ahead of Shadow. Blue Racer on the inside then as we go into Lesmo 1 here. And Blue Racer going to defend that position for now. That Supra is so strong at the moment. I do expect that Supra to get a bit of a buff in the next patch coming up on Thursday, by the way. So I'm calling it now. Supra gets at least a 5 horsepower buff or a 5 kilogram weight reduction. One of the two. Calling it now. Right, we're going to head towards turn 1. Kaz on the inside here as we head towards turn 1. Backs out of that, and we maintain P8 for now as we go through the left-hander. But has Bolt Ben got the mystery machine on the Supra there? That was kind of cool. Now, Kentish Gen there, 2-second penalty in the distance. I'm going very slowly as well. Not sure what happened. We'll have got that one as well in the bloopers as we continue through the Curva Grande and head towards the second chicane. So we get on the inside here. Are we going to get this move done is the question. Wasn't sure how aggressive I could go here. Had to really back out of that one, and Kentish Gen round the outside. Defended it very nicely indeed. We exit the corner then. We do have a bit of a run on Kentish Gen, but at this point in time, I'm deciding whether I should overtake or not, or just stay behind and actually just get the position at the penalty line, which does seem the better option in my opinion, which is why I did that. But we'll see how it plays out shortly. Bolt Ben there, having a bit of an issue. So is that a mystery machine? I'm not too sure. Superheroes on it. No idea. Cool looking livery though, as we go into the Ascari chicane then. So through the right we go, and then in towards the left. So we've not lost too much time to Kentish Gen. Oh, Bolt Ben with a second penalty. So we should get another position then by the end of the next lap. Kentish Gen takes that penalty. We're very much behind Bolt Ben right now as we head towards the Parabolica. Looking at the inside, but this isn't necessarily to go for a move. It's just so I can see the braking zone here as we go in there. Now, Kaz is going to try around the outside. Is it going to work is the question. Start accelerating. Realise Kaz is still there. Have to lift to give them room on the exit in that Corvette. And fair play to you. Want to move around the outside for Kaz, but unfortunately, Kaz has a penalty as well as we head towards the first chicane. So we jump to the second chicane now. Actually, we've missed the first chicane entirely. So in we go then. What's going to happen up ahead? Looks like somebody went a little bit wide there. Oh, contact between Kaz and Bolt Ben on the exit. Just slowing up there. We get a good run on the inside then as we head towards Lesmo 1 side-by-side action. You see some good racing here. So you can have some good racing at Monza. It is a circuit that does promote good racing, and it is nice to see as we head to the second Lesmo then. And through we go. So Kaz maintains position. I'm not too worried there because, of course, penalties have come. So Bolt Ben takes theirs. Kaz is taking theirs. I think somebody up ahead has a penalty as well because they're going quite slow. That's Norman as we go into the Parabolica. But Kaz is still there on my left-hand side, believe it or not. Hanging it around the outside again. Is it going to be 2 for 2? Oh, we'll find out as we head onto start-finish straights. And yeah, believe it or not, Kaz is there on my left-hand side. However, I'm not giving this up this time. unfortunately, I have to as we head into here then. And unfortunately, just small taps there up ahead. Everybody slows down, and it's just one of those where little bumps always happen there at Monza Turn 1. Everyone survives, though, and we continue on. Now, looks like Kaz is going for the move on Norman as we head towards the second chicane. And I could see this happening, and this always gives you an opportunity when two people do this. So I was like, do you know what? Let's get on the inside. So drop to second gear to really get the acceleration. I get past Norman, and believe it or not here, I'm going to get past Kaz as well. A 2-for-1 move on the exit of the chicane. I really loved that move. It was a superb move in my opinion. I judged it accordingly based on the side-by-side action, and we get ahead while they still fight behind. So it gives us an opportunity here to get away, and it does indeed. So we finished P5 in the end. Really good race there. The Supra is dominant there at the front, but I do think the Genesis very much can go hand-to-hand combat with that Toyota Supra. So only got a score of 5.5. Again, all the details down below in the comments, in the pinned comment there. You can see why I've scored it that way as well. We're going to jump to the lap guide then, and we're on board the Genesis here as we head towards turn 1. You can see my brake balance as well, +3 in the Genesis is what I was using for this one as we head towards turn 1. So on the left-hand side, we've got the 200 board, but we're looking for the 150 board there. I actually use this also in ACC, the 150 marker. Very good Group 3/GT3 brake marker for turn 1 at Monza. It'll be the same in iRacing. It'll be the same in any game, really. 150 is the optimum braking marker, really, here for turn 1. So we're going to hit the brakes here. We dropped first gear, but short shift to second. Second is the best gear for the Genesis here as we leave this corner. It'll avoid as much wheel spin as possible. Sometimes you'll still get the wheel spin. You do have to be careful of that. If you are getting it consistently, just go to 50% throttle first and then 100%. For the second chicane on the right side, just after the 150 board here, we've got the red painted barrier, the end of the Armco there. That is your brake marker. Now, you can try and brake later, and I tried it many times. However, you get a really bad run if the later you brake. So if you can brake a bit earlier, carry the momentum through the chicane, you'll benefit with a stronger lap here. And as I go through here, notice there, I understeered a little bit at the first part. It compromised my exit. I lost about 2 tenths there in that chicane because I did it slightly wrong. The last bit 1 then on the left-hand side is the 50 board, okay? So as the 50 board leaves your screen, you're going to hit the brakes, turn in. Arguably, you want a slightly later apex than you realise for this one, only because you want to really maintain the speed on the exit if you can. If you turn in too tight, too early, what's going to happen is you're going to get oversteer on the exit. So what we're looking for here is the end of the Armco or the escape road on the right side. They are your accelerating markers. So as long as you're hitting the apex at that point, you should get the best corner here in Lesmo 1, and arguably a very good time in Sector 2. So we see that we're going to hit the accelerator, as we are doing right now, and we should maintain a stable exit, like so. The next one then, we've got 2 markers. On the left-hand side, we've got the 50 board. You're braking before you get to that. On the right, you've got a group of trees there, so you brake as they hit the edge of your screen. Once again, these are brake markers, okay? So if you're struggling in a different car to match these, just use them as markers. There's the 50 board, I'll brake a bit earlier. There are the trees, I'll brake a bit earlier. That's the point of these guides. It's quick little tips of brake markers. You could jump in straight away and go, right, use the trees. There we go, nailed it straight away. Oh, I don't know where to brake. Oh, I'll watch Tidgney's weekly race guide. Bang, there it is. Brake wherever. So as we go to Ascari, I'm going to tell you a brake marker. Look out for it straight away, and you're already ahead of the game. So on the right side, we've got the end of the Armco. It's red painted. Use that as your brake marker. Alternatively, and what I use here is the escape road. But if you use the escape road, you're last in the late breakers for this one, and you are going to have to make sure you get this right in terms of your gear changes and rotation in the car. That's what I'm going to use here, though. And as we go to here, drop to second, and then I'm going to short shift to third because I was just getting that last little bit of engine braking. Be careful, half throttle through the middle of Ascari in case the sausages spit you off. And on the exit then, foot to the floor, and you should be absolutely fine. For the Parabolica, the 100 board on the left-hand side is the best brake marker in my opinion. So that's what I would highly advise you use. Literally as it leaves the screen here is when I'm going to brake. And I want to take a slightly wider line initially into the Parabolica to try and maintain a bit more speed and reduce the steering angle. That's what I'm going to try and do here. So just how I stay out a little bit. I then come towards the curb. And then the second lamppost, arguably the last lamppost that you can really see here, is your accelerating marker. So we passed one initially as we turned into the corner. We hadn't hit the apex there yet either. But there's the lamppost, very clear and obvious on chase cam. That is your accelerating marker. When you get to that point, start accelerating and you should be fine on the exit. Some cars will suffer some power oversteer. You will have to be careful of that. So just keep that in mind. We head towards the line though. And once again, you can follow this ghost on the leaderboard if you have a look for it. A 146.334. Going to jump to Daily Race C now then, where we are in that Toyota right there. You don't see that very often, do you? That modern Group 1 car. We're at Le Mans, believe it or not, if you didn't recognise the corners already. We're doing 6 laps here. It's a rolling start. Racing medium tyres and 1 pit stop is required. Tyres 2 fuel times 4 tyre wear. And of course, I've just said it before, we're in modern Group 1 cars, so none of the Group C stuff. However, there is definitely one outlier of a car. Now, I've used this track 6 times. I put question mark on the track and car combo because I don't think we've ever used just the modern cars before. 10th of June was the last time we used Le Mans with the chicanes. In terms of issues, dirty air. There's a lot of dirty air here. They've changed the slipstream for this particular race, and the pit entry can be very brutal, as you will find out in this race coming up. Let's jump to it now and let's have a look exactly what happens. Here we are then for this final race. Huggy starting on pole position there. Well played, Huggy. We're starting down in P11. And amazingly, Gran Turismo have nearly nailed the rolling start right there. Well played, Gran Turismo. Now, if you are enjoying this video, give it a like and subscribe to the channel. But once again, Gran Turismo have fixed arguably, or made the rolling start far better than it ever has been. So I'm going to shout that out straight off the bat because we don't normally see that. We just overtook Shadow there, who's in, I think, the Peugeot. Somebody's just gone wide there in towards turn 1. So we got 2 positions already here. But no other car can match this Toyota really in the race, in my opinion. It's just so fast in a straight line. And I knew that straight away because I remembered when the Group C was on that I would always try and go for a modern car potentially in terms of what can compete. And it was only this car, so I know it's fast in a straight line. Now, Shelty's just sent it down the inside of Marisonic and the Greek driver there. Unfortunately, it doesn't manage to get it fully stopped. Does still get ahead, though, there. Good move by Shelty all the same, especially to recover it on the exit. Very hard to get that wrong, or get it right as chicane in terms of recovering the car there. So well played to Shelty. Now we've got bump drafting. I'm going to go for a very risky move, which is come across the Greek driver there to get ahead of Shelty here as we go towards Mulsanne corner. We're going to hit the brakes then. Shelty on our inside. We're on the outside. Look at this, a beautiful race now. Just give Shelty enough on the inside. We continue on through the corner. Shelty gives me just enough. Superb racing. Really, really, really well superb. But we jump a lap later now, to be honest with you, because not much happens in the Porsche Curs because of the dirty air. Muscathy's in a different car there. That's the Audi R18 as we go into the braking zone here, looking to slow it down and go towards the left-hand side. Start to boost out of this corner. Norman gets it slightly wrong. Up into P5 we go. And then once again, once you're in the slipstream, you don't really catch that much, but the dirty air is atrocious. And we just jump to that now. So as we go into here, watch how much this car understeers. It just cannot get round corners in that dirty air of the car in front. So you end up not really racing that much in this race, to be honest with you, because you get to this point and then you're just stuck in this 1 to 2 second gap because you can't get closer because of the dirty air. Arguably, slipstream helps a tiny bit. You'll catch up a little bit, but unless they get it wrong, you're not really catching. So Marisonic comes in the pit, so I was like, okay, I'm going to stay out then. I should be able to try and catch the next driver up. I go to lap 5. This was the next part of racing you're going to see. So we jumped so far ahead in this race. We come into the pits here then, and I said it was brutal. Well, I'm about to get it wrong there. Look at this. Into the barrier we go, and we come into the pits. The question was, is that a penalty for cutting the inside of the chicane in the pit lane? Well, your answer, yes it is. As we leave the pits then. And again, we've not really seen anybody. Mario Sonic is behind. So Mario Sonic came in lap 2, remember. I'm not sure whether they changed tyres or not. But even so, they are 8.5 seconds behind as we continue on here. So we're going to take that, the penalty now. 8.5 seconds is what we're looking at. What's the gap going to go down to? Just so you're aware of how much time you actually lose here if you do get that pit lane infringement there. So it's already down to 3.5 seconds. Arguably, you're going to lose 6 seconds there. 3-second penalty is actually 6 seconds. You just saw it right now on the left-hand side. Anyway, we go into the Porsche Curs. Notice how it's not understeering, even though we've got very worn tyres, and we head towards the line. And that's it. So you don't change tyres in this race. You just pit at some point, and the key strategy here is to avoid the traffic. Not a lot of racing going on. You can see the gaps there. Notice they're all 2 to 3 seconds apart here as we go forward. Race score 6.5 out of 10. Again, all the details down below. And again, you can see the gaps there appearing. There's a close one between 2 cars there. They're 2 completely different cars. So, in terms of a lap guide for this one, you're going to head towards turn number 1, taking the Le Mans racing line, of course, but you're going to cut across towards the inside. Now, I've pointed out here the curb, where it goes straight, or the total boards, but you brake before the total boards, okay? You really just want to brake as the curb goes straight. It's going to be very much more clear when we go to chase cam. There you go. You see how it goes straight. You brake in a straight line. As it goes straight, should be no problem at all. You're going to drop towards second gear initially, and then you'll want to short shift to third, as I do right there. Now, on the exit, I've no idea how rank 1 did it at the time, but they were running well wide and not getting a penalty. You will get a penalty if you run wide, so just be cautious of that. Continue down the hill then, and on the right side, we've got the lamppost there gleaming away, so we know it's a light. Now, literally, you want to brake just before you get to that and chuck the car into this corner. The more speed you carry, the quicker you'll get around it because the downforce really plays a part with the camber of the corner, which you can see right there. So this is one where you chuck it in. I click the inside and then just boost it out of here, and the car just grips for days. It's great. You carry so much speed there. We get towards Tetra Rouge. We've got the blue paint on the inside of the corner, okay? That, as it hits the edge of your screen, is when you want to hit the brakes and then turn in. So it's just a dab of the brakes and chuck the car in. The more you chuck it in, the more the weight will transfer, the more arguably the car will actually turn if you do it, really quick. If you do it in a very slow rotation, it won't turn as well. So we get a really good run through Tetra Rouge. Again, be careful on the exit due to track limits. We head towards the first chicane then, and we've got 2 marshals on the left-hand side. That is a bit too early to brake. However, you want to brake after they leave the screen on the left-hand side. You could use the 100 board, which is why I've highlighted it on the right, but it's just before you get to that and not at it as well. Now, the reason for that is you can brake at it and make the corner, but you want to carry the speed. So you want to come across, cut a lot of the inside, hit the brakes a little bit there, go towards the left. Notice how much of the track I use there, and I can carry the momentum. Momentum is critical through these chicanes. So you brake a bit earlier than you really can do, but you carry the speed. And you carry the speed, you carry the downforce, you carry the downforce, you're going to get better time. The 100 board is your brake marker for this next corner. You're going to do exactly the same as what you did at the previous chicanes. You're going to hit the brakes. You're going to cut across towards the left-hand side. Make sure 2 wheels stay on the curb. However, 2 wheels can be over the curb here on the left. And then we're going to dab the brakes again in the middle of the corner. Go towards the right. Instantly on the throttle there to give it some grip over the rear wheels. And then boot it out of the corner as we head towards Mulsanne corner then. Now, for Mulsanne corner, I'm going to get this slightly wrong on this particular lap, but even so, on the left-hand side, you got the painted barrier there that you can use. You could use the marshals that we've just passed here, but that's a bit too early. Or you can use as the curb comes into the circuit. Now, that's a bit too late. So these are all little markers you can use, and you'll have to judge accordingly. However, on the left-hand side is probably the best one here. I just brake a little bit too late for this one. Notice that I go a tiny bit too deep. So I'm going to have to compromise on the corner as we leave that one. So roughly at this moment in time, I'm about 3 tenths down on my PB. But even so, we can still carry on with this lap because this is the fastest lap I've done so far. We head towards Indianapolis then. As we took it into here, the end of the curb there is your brake marker for this one. So as you get to that, hit the brakes and hopefully you'll brake in a straight line. If you don't brake in a straight line, you're going to have very inefficient braking and then you'll spear off. Okay, so you want to turn and then hit the brakes very quickly and go straight very quickly when you hit the brakes. Now, I dropped to second gear briefly and then I'll short shift to third gear. There we go. As we continue on exit, notice that I got a little bit of wiggle. There is some power oversteer in that corner. You do have to be careful. For an arch then, this right-hander, you got the 3 Gantt chines. They're not chines, Tidge. They're signs on the right side. Literally, the middle one is your brake marker. Okay, so you can see there, you've got one further on. There's one just before this camera angle. And then you've got here the brake marker. We turn in. Instantly on the throttle. Half throttle there. That gives the tyres some initial grip. The power is already halfway over that. So when you go full throttle, it's only applying 50% more power. You don't get the wheel spin. The Porsche curves. Now, this is very difficult in this car and in this lighting condition. So, you got 2 Goodyear signs on the right that you can use. So, it's just after the one on the right. Or, you got the one on the left, which is literally at it. You're going to dab the brakes and chuck it in. Okay? You really want to chuck this in. If you brake any later than the Goodyear sign on the left, you're going to go wide. It's very easy to go wide here. Notice the speed I carried there because I nailed it spot on. So, through the Porsche curves we go. Continue, lift off a little bit there, and then we've got the grass going to tarmac on the left-hand side. This is where you're going to dab the brakes and chuck it right now. Similar to Tetra Rouge, you really want to chuck the weight in because that way the car then will just stick a lot more, and the left of the car will then be loaded. So just turn in here, dab the brakes, turn in. You may want to drop 2 gears here. Sometimes you'll only drop 1 gear. Notice I was only in 5th here. On other laps, I was in 4th gear. As we go through here, I want to make sure I stay on the right-hand side of the circuit because I need to nail this corner perfectly. So as the white line goes straight, you can use that as your turning marker. Alternatively, you can use the RMC sign. Whichever one you want to use is up to you, but you want to turn in even though you can't see the corner, okay? And you clip it and then just literally get on the throttle. I nearly ran too wide there, and if I'd have cut it a bit more, I'd have been safer. So that's why you really want to just chuck it in and go. So the final couple of chicanes in the 4 chicanes. So on the right side, we've got the lamppost. We're going to brake just before we get to that on the right side. Now, we cannot see the curb on the first chicane right now. So you're going to have to turn in with a bit of faith. And that's what you're going to need, okay? So we're going to hit the brakes here. I'm going to drop to 3rd gear. And then we're just going to turn in. And there it is. Look at that. So now we can accelerate through here. We're going to hit the brakes before we get to that curb right there. But we have to start turning left before we get to that curb as well. I've already started turning left. You may be able to see that on the steering indicator when we go to chase cam a little bit better. But I've already started turning left because I have to be. And yes, you can see that down in the bottom there. The red dot saying I'm turning left. So you want to cut a little bit of the left and go to 3rd gear for the right. Be careful on exits. Accelerate towards the line. You can once again follow this lap, which is a 3:22.6. There's still plenty of time in that lap. As I said, I was already 3 or 4 tenths down earlier on. And we jump to the bloopers here then. And you can see up here, Marathoning went off on his own accord. And as we go through here, Blue Racer's going to get that understeer I talked about as well and go off as well. So 2 completely separate incidents in Tidgney 2. And that's how we ended up in the thick of the action once again on that final lap. There's Max Power. There's me as well. Woo! These cars look so funny. They really do. Jump to daily race B then. Monza turn 1. What actually happened here? So Benbow here going down the inside. Head there. Oh, slight tag on Kentish Gent there as we continue on through. Oh, then wheel spin. Oh, that took Hoggy out and he's trying to catch it. The Greek driver goes off. Oh, and Benbow was really, really sorry. He put sorry in chat. You could really tell as well. You can see that there. It's just stuck. So it's just unfortunate. One of those things, it can happen here. It's unfortunately one of the, where Monza, turn 1, if something happens, it's normally big. And you can see that right there. Now, the French driver here, unfortunately, hit the back of Benbow. Had nowhere really to go. And they're going to get given a 5-second penalty, which is extremely harsh. Very harsh, Gran Turismo. I don't think that's fair in the slightest. They really should know that there's already an incident happening before giving the penalties. Max Power here then, we're on the back of Max Power, and you can see that takes void in action on Kemp. Brilliant sportsmanship there from Max Power. Doesn't aim for the rear of the car, takes a void in action. Absolutely superb stuff. We go to Kentish Gent then, so this is lap number 2. In towards the chicane we go, and they were just rolling the car there. Unfortunately, they hit the French driver up ahead, and this is good sportsmanship. Look at this, they're just waiting up there, allowing easy spin to go. They get a 2-second penalty as well for it, which I would argue is fair because easy spin has lost a couple of positions, and then we can continue on racing. So daily race C, we're on board Kemp then as we go into the right-hander, and just hit the brakes that tiny bit too late on the inside of Shelty. Just managed to get his stop though. Shelty just stays on the circuit. What we'll do though is go backwards here, and we go on board Shadows. The Greek driver goes on the inside of Shelty, and Shelty just unfortunately gets it slightly wrong, and Shadow's going to tap the rear of Shelty there as well. Now, Shadow unfortunately gets a penalty for that, a 4-second penalty, but it's one of those, it was actually technically a punt, but not a punt, if that makes sense. Racing incident is what I'm going to say. Now, if you have enjoyed this video, give it a like. As always, subscribe to the channel, stay in touch with all the latest content. 2 videos there to check out. Check out my partners down below. Use the links or code Tidgney at checkout. But that is it for me. A massive thank you for watching, and I hope to see you in another video or live stream again very soon.